Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm flying Starlux Airlines business class from Taipei to Los Angeles. I've flown Starlux in economy a few times before, and I thought their economy experience was incredible. So I'm really excited to try their business class product today. The business class experience started with a great first impression at check-in. A dedicated staff member on the floor proactively grabbed my luggage to place it on the conveyor belt for me. This was a premium touch I've never experienced when checking in for business class before. After a smooth check-in, I headed to Starlux's Galactic Lounge in Terminal 2. The welcome was incredible. Upon handing my lounge pass to the agent, he personally walked me into the lounge, helped me with my carry-on at the lockers, and gave me a thorough introduction to the layout of the space. The lounge is spread across 2 floors with seating areas and bathrooms on both levels. The 2 shower suites are located downstairs, while the luggage lockers are exclusively upstairs. Both floors feature the same buffet spread. But you'll find certain items, like some desserts and the hot dogs, only on the upper level. If you're looking for a dessert recommendation, there was a pudding from LOOL that was a total standout. Now, I'm not usually a pudding fan, but the combination of its incredibly soft texture and rich, deep flavor made it probably the best I've ever had. As for the hot dogs, the flavor was actually great, but interestingly, there were no buns to eat them with. In addition to the buffet, you can access a full made-to-order menu via a QR code at every table. I highly recommend the items under the star-rated cuisine section of the made-to-order menu. One thing I really appreciated was the portion sizes. They were small enough to give you a full sense of the flavors without being so large that they felt overwhelming to finish. It allowed me to try several different dishes, which is exactly how I like to eat in a lounge. I particularly loved the biang biang noodles. They were wide and chewy with a nice kick of spice that wasn't overwhelming. I actually ordered them twice since they were so good. The futuristic aesthetic of the lounge continues into the shower suites, which feature the same gray metals and bright yellow accents. The setup here is consistent with what you expect from a premium lounge. The showers are stocked with Van Eden Breeze shampoo, conditioner, and body wash. However, I did notice slippers aren't provided and the towels aren't wrapped in plastic, but these are minor details in an otherwise well-designed space. The shower queuing process is quite manual. You have to hand your boarding pass to the front desk, and they'll ask you where you'll be sitting and tell you they'll come find you when it's your turn. Because there are only 2 shower suites, I'd recommend putting your name in as soon as you arrive. In my experience, you may need to be a bit proactive. I think a staff shift change happened while I was waiting for the showers, and my request seemingly got lost in the shuffle, so I had to follow up myself to get access. It's a great space to freshen up, just be sure to check back in with the desk if you've been waiting for a while. Soon, it was time to head to the gate. Since the lounge is located near the D gates and my flight was departing from the B gates, it was a solid 20-minute trek. I'm a fast walker and even I found it to be a pretty long walk, so definitely budget enough time to get there. Business class passengers are in Zone 1, so you're among the first to board. Today's aircraft is an A350-900. The cabin features 26 business class seats in a 1-2-1 configuration. When I was booking my flight, the Starlux website actually flagged that rows 3 and 7 have partially obstructed window views. I really appreciated that transparency, and since the other window seats in rows 2 through 5 were already taken, I opted for seat 6K. Waiting at my seat was a plush pillow and blanket, along with a pair of slippers and the Starlux Amenity Kit. Once I was settled in, a flight attendant gave me an incredibly detailed seat tour. The entertainment screen is impressive. I measured it at about 3.5 iPhones wide by 2.25 iPhones tall. There is a digital panel for seat and lighting adjustments, as well as physical quick buttons for immediate shortcuts into takeoff or sleep positions. For storage, there is a deep side cabinet that houses the handheld remote and universal outlets. It also features a wireless charging pad, though I couldn't get it to work despite trying several different placements. The cabinet comes stocked with a bottle of Aqua Panna, noise-canceling headphones, and a 1 Lux facial mask. Rounding out the space, there's a lamp at the seat, an additional side compartment for smaller items, as well as a coat hanger by the seat entrance. The seat also has a sliding door that was easy to operate and made the space feel private. Before takeoff, the crew came by to offer pajamas and asked which size I wanted. These pajamas are the new 2026 pajamas that are part of a collaboration with Paul Smith and replace the old version. As we begin to prepare for takeoff, I buckled the over-the-shoulder belt that is required for takeoff and landing. Dinner service started soon after we were in the air. I'll flip through the menu and wine list quickly here, but feel free to pause if you want to see the full selection. I pre-ordered my meals online, which is a service available when managing your trip on the Starlux website from 21 days up to 24 hours before departure. It's definitely worth checking out the site because they often have online exclusive dishes that aren't on the regular in-flight menu. I chose the Taiwanese menu by YUENJI, a Michelin-one-star restaurant in Taichung, Taiwan. The tea smoked pork and the pumpkin-flavored stir-fried rice noodles were delicious. It was a sophisticatedly and balanced light meal. However, the service tempo felt rushed. My main course arrived while I was still working on my starters. Having both courses on the table at once created this awkward pressure to choose between finishing my starter or eating the main while it was still hot, which took away from the relaxed, paced dining experience you'd expect. During the dinner service, I also tried the boba latte. While it wasn't the best boba I've had, it was my first time having it on a plane, and I thought it was a fun, unique offering from Starlux. After dinner, the crew came by to ask if I wanted the mattress pad put on my seat. I checked out the Amenity Kit. It included a small pouch with products by 3, including a balancing stem moisturizer, a balancing overnight oil serum SQ, and a balancing protective lip bar. There was also a dental kit, a comb, earplugs, an eye mask, and socks. The lavatory is well designed, featuring a main mirror with a magnifying section and a waist-down side mirror. I also like that they automated the experience. The toilet button is sensor activated, so you never actually have to touch it. They also provide toothpicks, mouthwash, and fabric hand towels. Even though they were wrapped in plastic, having actual towels in the restroom is a nice premium touch that I just don't see in other business class cabins. It's something I've only ever seen before in ANA first class. I changed into the new 2026 Starlux Pajamas, which are a collaboration with Paul Smith. They were comfortable. I actually found them to be a bit more comfortable than the pajamas I had in ANA first class. Now, I've heard a lot about the legendary reputation of the previous version of Starlux Pajamas, so I'm curious if this new version lives up to that standard. For those of you who have tried both the old and new sets, which one do you like better? Let me know in the comments what your experience was. Returning to my seat, I prepared for bed. I'm 183 centimeters or 6 feet tall, and in the full lie flat position, the legroom was ample. The armrest is also adjustable with 3 different settings: the standard position, a higher position for lounging, and a lower setting that levels with the lie flat seat. Putting it in that lowest position gives you a bit of extra width for sleeping. I also tried the seat's 0G function, which shifts the chair into a dentist chair-like position and is supposed to trigger a relaxing pulsation on your back. However, when I first set it to 0G mode, I couldn't feel the sensation at all. I even set the pulsation intensity to the highest level using the digital control panel. But even then, the movement was barely noticeable, so definitely don't expect a full massage feature here. I'll be honest, I didn't sleep well on this flight. The cabin air was a bit warm, which made my throat feel dry, and the blanket, while comfortable, was a bit too warm for the environment. Also, if you're a light sleeper, I definitely recommend using the earplugs from the Amenity Kit or the noise-canceling headphones. From row 6, the operational noise and talking from the galley between business class and premium economy were quite noticeable. Since I couldn't sleep, I spent some time exploring the in-flight entertainment. The library is massive, with a wide range of English language films, TV shows, and music, alongside plenty of Mandarin, Korean, and Japanese content. They even had Angry Birds in the games section. It's been a long time since I've played that, so it was a fun throwback. A feature I really like is the heart icon, which lets you favorite movies, TV shows, and music, and quickly access them from the menu bar. The flight map is also fantastic. If you zoom into a city, it displays points of interest complete with pictures. They also have a new live discovery feed at the bottom left-hand side of the screen that suggests landmarks and locations related to your destination, which is a great way to get excited about the journey. The remote is actually quite unique. It has a clean design without too many buttons and features a trackpad area to control a cursor on the screen. I love that the remote displays the remaining flight time and has dedicated buttons for quick volume adjustments. However, while the trackpad is an interesting innovation, it felt less efficient for navigating the interface than traditional directional left, right, up, down buttons would have been. Since the screen was easily within arm's reach and very responsive, I found it much faster to just touch the screen directly. I also tested the free business class Wi-Fi. To get connected, you just enter your email, last name, and birthday. Unlike economy, which is usually limited to texting, the Starlux business class experience included full web browsing. While it was a nice option to have, the speeds were very slow. If you get hungry in the middle of the night, the crew comes around with snack baskets filled with items like cereal sticks, dried mangoes, chocolate, and rice crackers. There is also a snacks menu you can order from. I decided to try the lion's mane filet burger. One thing to keep in mind is that even though this is on the snacks menu, the burger is actually quite large, so plan your appetite accordingly. I feel like there was just too much bun for the size of the patty, but the plant-based patty itself was actually quite interesting. I also ordered the peach sparkling drink, which was a refreshing and great non-alcoholic option. About 90 minutes before landing, the breakfast service began. Being a big fan of Wagyu, I had pre-ordered the Wagyu burger for breakfast. While the flavors were great, it was a heavy choice for a morning meal. In the future, I'd likely opt for the lighter congee set that was offered for breakfast from the Asian menu. The real highlight, however, was the bread basket, which featured a fresh croissant, almond oatmeal honey bread, and a yogurt banana scone. They felt like they came straight out of the oven and had this soft, almost cloud-like texture. Even the scone, which I thought would be hard, was surprisingly soft and light. We finished the service with fresh fruit, and I also ordered the hojicha latte. Since I already had the boba latte earlier, I was glad I got to try the other signature drink now. I really appreciated the nutty aroma of the hojicha latte, though both the boba and the hojicha lattes were a bit watery. Soon, we were preparing for descent, and the cabin crew came by with a tray of various candies. I appreciated this thoughtful touch and grabbed one of each flavor. So, what's the final verdict on Starlux's business class? First, in terms of the hard product, there is no denying that this business class cabin can easily compete with some of the best in the industry. Everything feels brand new and sleek, and you can tell that they put a lot of thought into the aesthetic. However, I did find some of the tech choices to be a bit superfluous. For example, the seat's 0G has a pulsation function that was barely noticeable even at its strongest setting. It didn't really contribute to or detract from my comfort. Similarly, the trackpad remote was less functional than traditional directional left, right, up, down buttons would have been, especially since it was often easier to just use the responsive screen within reach. While these features were certainly novel, they felt more like bells and whistles. As for the soft product, my first impressions were incredible. From the seamless check-in to the lounge experience and the initial welcome on board, the level of proactive, attentive service made this feel like a first-class experience on a business class ticket. However, during the flight, I noticed a consistency gap. I interacted with 6 or 7 different crew members, which felt high for a cabin that wasn't even half full. I wonder if they were using this midweek flight for crew training. With so many hands involved, this service lost a sense of consistency. On board, the flight attendants I interacted with most were truly exceptional, attentive and personable in a way that felt very premium. But when you receive such a world-class level of warmth from one person, the transition to a colleague following a more standard functional service flow becomes very apparent. It wasn't that the other staff were lacking, but rather that the elevated standard wasn't a consistent thread across the entire team. Starlux already has a world-class hard product, but I think they're still polishing the gold to reach that final layer of seamless end-to-end consistency found in legends like ANA or Cathay Pacific. Once they do, Starlux clearly has the ceiling to be the best in the sky. For those interested, this flight costs 75,000 Alaska Airline points and $46.63 US in taxes and fees. If you enjoyed the video today, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. I really appreciate your support as it really helps the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.